Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wilmot Township Council meeting this evening. This meeting is open to the public online, and we're also being featured on Rogers television as well. And we want to thank Rogers for their community service and televising our council meetings. We'll start off with a moment of silence. Thank you for joining us for the meeting. This past Sunday, September 27th, was the Police and Peace Officers National Memorial Day. This National Memorial Day allows for an opportunity to formally express appreciation for the dedication of police officers and peace officers who made the ultimate sacrifice. Let us take a moment and reflect. Okay, thank you, everyone. First, we'll start with the land acknowledgement. Councillor Fenning.
We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community. Tonight, you'll see a number of us are wearing orange shirts. On Wednesday, it's Orange Shirt Day, in recognition of all the children who were taken and suffered in the residential schools. Look for us to be talking a little bit more about that on Wednesday.
Thank you, Councillor Fenning. And on Wednesday, if we can arrange it, that as many councillors as possible and show up at the Township office. If you can escape, let us know, and we'll see if we can get a photo op in. As someone described, distancing and masking. So thank you. Are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none. Next is the minutes of the September 14, 2020. Are there any corrections, omissions, errors? Seeing none. So the recommendation that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as presented. Council meeting September 14th, 2020. Moved by Councillor Fenning, Councillor Gordick. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. There are no public meetings, no presentations.
Pardon me, Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
Thank you. For those who are watching at home, Councillor Holman is participating over her phone. Perhaps Councillor Holman, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself when a vote is called, just so that we can acknowledge that you have also voted either in favor or against a motion, if you don't mind, please.
Through the Mayor, absolutely, I can do that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so the next item up is the consent agenda. We are now onto the consent agenda. If members of council have any questions and want to remove an item from the consent agenda, please indicate so now, and we will not take questions on the consent items unless the items are requested to be removed to the regular agenda. Okay, seeing none. So the recommendation that report numbers ILS 2020-22, ILS 2020-23, ILS 2020-24, and COR 2020-33 be approved. Moved by Councillor Gerber, Councillor Fisher. All in favor? Councillor Hallman?
In favor.
Thank you. That's carried. So the next item is the reports, and the first one up is the procedure bylaw amendment notice. And who's handling that? So, Ms. Middleholtz?
Thank you to you, Mayor Armstrong. I don't really have anything to add this evening. Really, tonight, all we're doing is providing notice that at our next council meeting on October 5th, the draft bylaw that you have before you will be discussed and voted on. If there are any comments, any questions, either from members of the public or from members of council with regards to these amendments, I'm more than happy to contact me so that we can discuss those. It is only to deal with the electronic participation in the absence of an emergency declaration. Thank you. Mayor Armstrong, you're muted.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none. Mr. Fisher, you have one?
Yes, through you, Mayor Armstrong. I know we had discussed earlier about streaming our council meetings. Is there any consideration about Zoom being used once COVID is over and we're back into regular council meetings?
Through you, Mary Armstrong. It just so happens that later on this week, there is going to be a discussion between Information and Legislative Services with IT Services, where we're going to be discussing sort of that ongoing idea of where we're going to be able to use Zoom or some other electronic platform in the future. At this point in time, what this proposed bylaw would allow is for us to continue meeting in this exact format until such time that physical distancing is no longer required. And then presumably at that point in time, when we have some level of normalcy, if suppose somebody decides that they want to go on vacation, they have a nice, good, stable internet access and everything's good from an IT perspective, then they would be able to continue participating in our council meetings even while they're away from Wilmot. So it could be business trip, it could be something for personal. It could also just be somebody is sick at home and but they don't want to miss an important vote. So it's sort of covering a lot of different possibilities as to why somebody might need to participate electronically and what that platform will be exactly, streaming, all of that. Those are those discussions that we're looking at. And if there's any sort of potential capital or operational costs associated with it, then that will be brought forward for council to vote on during the 2021 budget.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, the recommendation that report number ILS 2020-25 be received for information and that amendments to the township procedural bylaw concerning electronic participation be added to the October 5, 2020 council meeting agenda. Moved by Councillor Fenning, Councillor Fisher. All in favor? Councillor Hallman?
Yay.
Thank you. That is carried. Next item is the development charges deferral payment and interest rate policy. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor Armstrong. Several months back, a joint municipal working group was established with representation from all 8 municipalities. The goal of that group was to develop a consistent approach to the new requirements stemming from Bill 108, 138, and Bill 197. These pieces of legislation, which were commented on previous staff reports to this council, will require municipalities to change the administration and collection of development charges on certain developments. Updates to section 26.1 have added installment payment options for 3 types of development, that being rental housing, institutional development, and nonprofit housing. Prior to this, DCs were payable in full upon issuance of building permits. Section 26.2 enacted what is commonly referred to as a DC freeze, and this section does not apply to any site plan or rezoning application prior to January 1st, 2020. In response, a policy was developed by the Joint Municipal Working Group and has been included as an appendix to this report for your approval. For section 26.1 and 26.2, rental and institutional developments will have a fixed interest rate applied, while nonprofit housing developments will have no interest rates applied, and this is a consistent approach across all municipalities within the region of Waterloo. Staff are also consistently recommending an interest rate of prime plus 2%. The premium of 2% is proposed to cover an element of risk in the development process and to offset rate fluctuations over the term of the freeze or deferral. Overall, township staff were pleased with provincial officials having listened to the various advocacy efforts put forth from Wilmot and other municipalities across the province regarding some of the shortcomings in this legislation. Staff were further encouraged at the level of collaboration amongst area municipalities in reaching a common methodology and approach to these new requirements. So both Mr. Okrafka and myself are here to attend to any inquiries from council and are looking forward to council approval of this policy.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Are there any comments, questions? Councillor Fanning?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Armstrong. I recognize that some of the aspects of this have been challenging and appreciate all the work that staff have put into making it work and harmonizing with our neighbors. I also am happy to see elements that are hopefully going to encourage affordability in housing for residents who desperately need it. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else, any comments or questions? Seeing none, the recommendation that report COR 2020-034 be received for information purposes, and further that council approve the governance policy on development charges, deferral payments, and interest rates. That is moved by Councillor Gordick and Councillor Hallman. Did you want to second that?
Through the mayor, sure.
Okay. And all in favor? And as you seconded, I'm sure you're in favor of it then, Councillor Hallman.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That is carried. Next item is correspondence, and is from the town of Amherstburg. And there is a recommendation there from them for us to vote on, and it's all laid out in the agenda if everybody has had a chance to see it. And does anyone wish to move that recommendation? Not seeing any. Councillor Gordick? Not seconded. Councillor Gerber? Are there any comments or from that? Seeing none. Councillor Fanning, you wish to comment?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. I realize this is putting staff on the spot, so please don't feel like you have to answer. My own schedule has been pretty crazy, and I didn't have a chance to reach out to give you a chance to prepare. I'm just curious about this particular recommendation. If staff have any comment for us on what our own position is, or I'm mindful of all of our municipalities having challenges with budgets and technology and just everything that's hit us this year. However, at the same time, I'm thinking about how much more reliant residents are on technology, and possibly that this might be a negative impact to some residents if we do delay it. Anyways, if there's any comments that staff might feel comfortable sharing, that'd be great.
Ms. Middleholt?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. When the township refreshed their website in 2015, and there are 3 other people who were on the township committee that was involved in that committee. So if they need to correct me on this, then that's fine. I believe that when we built it, we actually built it to specifications so that our website was actually ready for this already. So our website as it exists today meets this compliance in how it is built. Right? So we are actually doing another not even a refresh really, it's just a minor sort of an update to it really this year that will enhance it further. This in part is actually just in helping other municipalities as well who maybe aren't at that point already. This goes with the idea of municipal staff being strapped this year with so much going on with the pandemic. So it is just helping to provide some of these additional extensions just to ensure that that everyone is able to meet the compliance. But I don't know, Mr. Kelly and Wilmot Zoom host, they were involved in some of the more technical aspects, Ms. Locke, and I provided a lot of other, I'm going to say less technical advice, but we were certainly part of the team as well. But they may be able to comment on that. But that is my recollection, is that we built it to meet these requirements.
If I could just piggyback on that, Mayor
Kelly,
Armstrong.
go ahead.
Through you, yeah, the website that we currently host for the township is built off a platform that does have a AODA compliance checker component to it. Every page that's published prior to publishing it has the option to be verified to be AODA compliant. I think it would be prudent of us to do a full review, obviously, of our website, each page, to make sure that over the course of the last 5 years, any changes that have been made still follow the AODA requirements. But as Don said, there's a lot of municipalities that are on web platforms that may not be up to that standard. And as with a lot of other legislative requirements with deadlines, most municipalities are seeking extensions to those deadlines to make sure that critical services are being maintained over the course of the next year, and we'll attend to these in due course. But as Don said, I would say that I don't have any concerns over the compliance of our website. Due diligence would say we'd check over it to make sure, and we'll do our best efforts to continue to remain accessible to everyone.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So the recommendation we have mover and a seconder, all in favor? Councillor Hallman?
Yay.
Thank you. Next recommendation, that bylaw number 2020-34 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Fisher, Councillor Fenning. All in favor? Councillor Hallman.
Yay.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none. Announcements. Councillor Gordick.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Armstrong, I just have two. Can everybody hear me okay? Thank you. We just want to say thank you and good luck to the Wilmot schools that are taking part in the Terry Fox National School Run Day this week. We know how challenging it is for the schools to take part this year, and our community is very grateful to the hard work done by local educators to keep students safe and healthy. And finally, Nigel and I would like to say a big thank you. The Wilmot Terry Fox Run took place this past Sunday, and even though we weren't able to host many fundraisers this year, our community still has managed to raise an estimated $39,600. So thank you to everyone that's participated and take part and donated. Pledges are still coming in, and plus we still have 2 more auctions coming up in the next month. So we're confident that we're going to reach our target of 40,000 for the 40th anniversary of the Marathon of Hope. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, and I do want to congratulate you and your husband on the efforts that you put forward for another successful year. Anyone else have any announcements? Who? Councillor Hallman.
Thank you. Through the mayor. This past weekend was the Wellesley Idol, which looked a little bit different with obviously the cancellation of the Apple Butter and Cheese Festival. And our little community of New Dundee was really excited to congratulate Sierra Hurd, who won the competition this year. And then also coming up in New Dundee this weekend, a big thank you to the New Dundee Optimists for doing their best to keep kids active in our community. They're hosting a fishing derby for kids under 12 this Saturday and Sunday, obviously with keen attention to physical distancing, but putting every effort into making sure that we can balance that with keeping kids doing something active and outdoors. So I'm happy to share that. And then on a sadder note, I did want to mention the passing of Glenn Lichty, who had served for Wilmot Township and the Baden Fire Services, and also in the Heritage Fire Brigades for over 40 years. So my condolences to his family. And also wanted to comment on Orange Shirt Day, as that is coming up this Wednesday. And this is a cause that has been near and dear to my heart for a long time. And wanted just to provide just a small glimpse of what this is about, because I find that a lot of people don't have a lot of backstory on that. So the Orange Shirt Day started because of a woman named Phyllis Webstead. When she started her residential school in British Columbia, she wore her orange shirt there. And when she arrived, they took it away from her and all of her clothes, and including her new orange shirt. And it was never returned to her. And growing up to her, that experience, along with all of her terrible experiences at the residential school, had she described her feelings as not feeling like she mattered, no one cared, and she was worth nothing. And so this movement of her with Orange Shirt Day obviously spread across the country. And on September 30th, we wear orange. And the message being that every child matters. And it's a uniting message to fight racism and bullying, and obviously to come to the understanding of the horrific situations that occurred in residential schools. And that is all my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Holman. Well said. Are there any other announcements? Mr. Gerber?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Armstrong. Yes, thank you, Councillor Fenning and Councillor Hallman, for highlighting Orange Shirt Day coming up this week, and those of us who were able to have a shirt in the closet to recognize that tonight and again on Wednesday. I know announcements are usually made for things in advance, but I just wanted to give a couple kudos to things just sort of in the past week or so. where the township has just sort of shown some adaptability to the new situations and continued to do great things for people in the community. Of course, I want to highlight just to give kudos to the Wilmot Terry Fox Run in the virtual world and all that they've been able to accomplish in the last year on the 40th anniversary, especially, and also the Wilmot Family Resource Center with the Poor Boys Luncheon kits that were handed out on Thursday. It was just a neat production to see how they adapted to that and to see the community and the sponsors still sort of embrace it in that different way. So it's just great to see the community continuing to do great things for each other, through the circumstances that we're all in.
Thank you, Councillor Gerber. Point well made that people in Waterloo region are well known for their adaptability to situations. And we certainly appreciate that ability. Anyone else have a announcement? Okay, at this time, I would like to give a verbal update as to the progress that I've been asked to provide, and that is that I continue with the reading of items on for the racism and for all the items that I've been accused of being part of, and my education is ongoing. I've been doing some reading, been watching some videos, and attending video workshops on the various subjects, and that is ongoing and will continue. So that is my update to let you know that that's what's going on. So the next item we have to, the next item we have a further announcement, and the region is looking for, is setting up an anti-racism advisory working group and looking for people to sit that, and would appreciate if anybody is interested that they apply through engagewr.ca/anti-racism, and if you're interested in being involved, to contact them through that. Okay. So the next item is the confirm. Councillor Fanning?
Thank you. Mayor Armstrong, I'm wondering if you might be able to provide a name of some of the things that you've been reading in case there's anyone watching who might be interested in furthering their own education. If you could share some of those resources with people watching tonight.
I attended a KWC Community Foundation video seminar on, and there was, I've also read items from Justice in June, Who Gets to Be Afraid in America. America's racial contract is killing us. Your body being used. Videos and how studying privilege systems can strangle compassion, presented by Peggy McIntosh. Watched production by Melanie Fuchs on implicit bias. Valerie Alexander and How to Outsmart Your Own Conscious Bias. James A. White, Sr., 50 Years of Racism, Why Silence Isn't the Answer. And there are many, many more that I have been watching and seeing. So, Councillor Fanning?
Thank you for indulging my questions. Mayor Armstrong, I'm wondering if there's, that sounds like a good list. I'm wondering if there's one thing that you'd like to share of what you've learned in all of that reading and participation. Is there a particular thing that might stand out for you?
Well, one thing that does stand out for me that in attending all those videos, watching the videos, reading the different reports, is that we have a lot of work ahead of us, and it's going to be tough work. And it's going to, we do have to work. So that's the one thing that I'm getting from all of this, is that it's not going to be easy. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us. And hopefully a lot of people will sign up for the Engage WR, because that is going to be one of the major factors in helping us to get through this.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. So the next item is the confirmatory bylaw. And that bylaw number 2020-35 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on September 28, 2020, be introduced, ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Gordy, Councillor Fanning. All in favor? Councillor Hallman?
Yay.
Perfect. Next item is our adjournment recommendation that we do now adjourn to meet again at the call of the mayor. Moved by Councillor Gordy, Councillor Fisher. All in favor? That is carried. Councillor Hallman?
Yay.
Atta girl. We just want to keep you engaged. Okay. So thank you everyone for attending. And again, thank you, Rogers, for your public service in televising these meetings. So thank you all for being here this evening.